one day after Mardi Gras. As you can tell, it's still fucking crazy. We just finished up Immersion Mardi Gras yesterday. I want to relate to you some of the things that happened, and these are actually very instructive experiences. So first of all, we had a guy lose his virginity on the program, which was awesome, and obviously a big deal for him. But the fact that it is a big deal for him is part of the point I'm going to make in this video, because sex for women is much less of a big deal than you might think. So let me tell you some of the other things that happened on this program. We had one student who over the 5 days of the program slept with 12 different girls. We had another student who over 5 days slept with 7 girls. We had a girl who slept with one of my immersion coaches and then immediately afterwards slept with the other immersion coach, and the list goes on and on. Oh, one other one I want to point out. There was one guy in particular, he had a couple interactions where he was talking with a girl, it was pretty good, we told him to pull, he didn't pull. Somebody else, another student, walked right in and pulled right afterwards, okay? And what should all these other experiences besides the virginity experience be teaching you? They should be telling you that sex for women is not as much of a big deal as society would have you believe. We see these movies where there's the whole movie, the climactic scene is they finally have sex and it's such a big deal and they live happily ever after like it's the climax of life. Not true, not the case. In fact, biologically, there is strong evidence that a lot of women's genetics encourage them to get semen from multiple men inside of them at the same time. And that men's semen is actually designed to compete with other men because this is such a frequent occurrence, all right? So, Mardi Gras, basically, look at it as a microcosm of the world. It's the world on steroids a little bit, like where inhibitions kind of run wild and people aren't checking them quite as much. But the things that people do during Mardi Gras are the things they kind of wish they were doing at other times during the year. And if you think that sex is a big deal for women and you're judging them for it, they probably won't have a lot of sex with you because they won't be put in that frame. But when they're put in a wide open frame, like a Mardi Gras frame, a lot of sex is going to happen very, very, very quickly. So it is to your benefit to not be judgmental. And I want you to realize sex for a girl is not a big deal. Let's break down some of these experiences, right? If some of these guys are sleeping with 7 and 12 girls in 5 days, think about how much sex the average girl is having during Mardi Gras as compared to normal times. It's got to be a crazy amount. Biggest one I want to point out is the transferability of buying temperature. Somebody's talking to a girl, it's going well, he leaves, someone else steps in, girl switches right over to the next guy, goes home with him. So a lot of it is maybe even just being in the right place at the right time. A lot of it might be luck. And it's so easy because we put so much focus and time and attention on being good with girls and getting laid. It's so easy to get a big ego about it. It's so easy that when it actually happens, pretty appropriate actually. It's pretty easy to treat it as such a big deal. It's pretty easy to think, oh God, because we're putting so much effort in, or because it's not something that came naturally, maybe for us before we learning game, that it is a huge deal. For the girls, it really isn't. She'll transfer right over to the next guy. She'll fuck another guy right after you in some cases, okay? So let's have a little reality about it and don't get so egoically attached. If you have sex, great, good for you, I hope it was fun, but don't think that you're a fundamentally different or better person because of it. If you go out at night and you don't have sex, so what? Not the biggest deal in the world. It wasn't the biggest deal to the girls, whether they went home with you, went home with someone else, or went home with nobody. Sex is kind of just a part of life. It is important biologically, it is important genetically, it's a big part of a relationship, but it's not the be-all and end-all, and it's certainly not something to be defining your self-worth on, because there is so much randomness, so much chance, and so much variability to it, and the girl herself is not treating it as such a big deal. I'll give you one other experience, it's a non-Mardi Gras experience, which was kind of eye-opening for me, which was, it's happened to me a couple times, where I was dating a girl who was really, really, really hot, and then I saw the next guy she dated, and compared to me, he was a fucking loser. And at the time when I was dating this hot girl, I'm like, oh, I'm such the shit because I'm dating this girl, but then some other schlubby guy could do it too.